Good evening and welcome. Tonight is Monday, May 24th, 2021. It is 7 o'clock p.m. This is the regular City Council meeting for the City of St. Peter. The meeting is being held in person and virtually. I think we have 3 members here in person and we're missing one tonight, so we have 3 appearing virtually. We will call the meeting to order. Would all please join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone should have a copy of the agenda. Are there any changes, corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Ed will make a motion to approve.
Carrie Johnson will second.
Add 1, carry 2. All in favor of the agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Agenda is approved. Next, we have the minutes from our May 10th, 2021 meeting. Those minutes appear on pages 6 through 8. Are there any changes, questions, corrections on the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Noel will make a motion to approve.
Emily will second.
Shannon 1, Emily 2. All in favor of the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Those minutes are approved. First up tonight, we have 3 public hearings. We will take them all individually. And before we get started, I'm going to go over a couple of our procedures. Since I see we have a couple extra people here tonight, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Michaels, if they would like to speak. What we do is we try to keep it to 5 minutes. If someone has someone to speak or wants to speak, we start out with a staff presentation. Then if any of the applicants would like to add anything or say anything after that point, we go to them, and then we allow some time for public comment. And then after that, we will take up these issues when it comes up in our regular meeting. But the first part of it is just for the public hearing. The first one that we have tonight is for a petition for rezoning for 1445 and 1473 North 3rd Street. We will open the public hearing at 7:04 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. And Mr. Willie.
Mayor Zeman, members of the City Council, tonight you'll be asked to consider 3 separate agenda items related to property owned by Ron Johnson in the North 3rd Street area. The first one tonight is to consider a petition to rezone certain lands from I-2, which is general industrial, to R3, multifamily residential. If you look at the map on page 66, probably shows it best. As you are making improvements to North 3rd Street, putting in a hard surface, curb and gutter, and certain underground utilities, Mr. Johnson has taken the opportunity to apply for a few changes out in that area. On page 66, you'll notice that the 2 northern lots that will be created, presumably later when you consider a plat, are currently zoned I-2 industrial, yet then they would have access for vehicular access off of the improved North 3rd Street. It's just generally a solid planning principle that you try to segregate the industrial traffic from the residential traffic. Also, having such heavy traffic on a street designed for residential use in the long term can be problematic. The rezoning to R3 would match the other residential properties on the west side of North 3rd Street and in the general vicinity of McLeod Street and such. The Planning Commission considered this action at their May 6th meeting, Mr. Mayor, and they have recommended that the City Council provide for the approval of the rezoning as petitioned by Mr. Johnson.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, did you want to make some comments on this matter? If you would, please state your name and your home address.
My name is Ron Johnson, 1047 Rabbit Road, St. Peter. I was kind of late not to do anything with this till the decision was made on the 3rd Street. Now it's made, and now I can hopefully can continue on and develop that up and bring a little bit more tax money into the city. So that's my plan.
All right. We will bring this up later in our meeting, and we'll reserve questions for the council at that point. If you can stick around, Ron, hopefully you can, when we take it up under new business. Unless someone...
Yep, that's fine. Thank you.
Is that all right? Okay. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to make any statements on this public hearing for the rezoning of 1445, 1473 North 3rd Street? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing for that purpose on the 1445, 1473 rezoning petition at 7:07 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. The next one we have is a petition for an alley vacation, and we will open that public hearing at 7:07 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. Mr. Willie.
Mayor Zeman, members of the council, the second action to consider regarding the Ron Johnson property would be a petition to vacate what I'm going to refer to as the north-south alley within blocks 37 and 38 of the town of Traverse des Sioux. From time to time, we find issues with the former town of Traverse des Sioux, which is now part of the city of St. Peter, and this is one of them anomalies. There is an alley that right now has no discernible driving surface. It also has no inlet or outlet upon a private or a public street. So any access would have to be accomplished by crossing private property. It has been determined that there are electrical service lines running to the properties that are located within the portion of the alley subject to be vacated. There are also then private telecommunication services which are located within that alley, so the appropriate easements would be maintained. The 2016 comprehensive plan is essentially silent on the matter. The proper finding would be that such action is not contrary to the terms and provisions of the 2016 comprehensive plan. Mr. Mayor, again, the Planning Commission had considered this matter at their May 6th meeting and have recommended that the City Council provide for the vacation as petitioned.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, is there anything you'd like to add at this time on this petition?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Russ, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I did forget that subsequent to the petition from Ron Johnson, the Kaiser, the Hinven, and the Mira families have joined them in that petition. That's important. That constitutes 4 of the 6 property owners abutting the alley. I did talk to one of the other 2, and he had no reservations when I explained the process. And he's on the very south end on the Minnesota Avenue, Old Minnesota Avenue frontage. And so he'd acquire just a small portion. He was satisfied with my explanation, satisfied with the maintenance of the alley. But by having a majority, it would require a majority of the council to pass the resolution. Without a majority of the property owners, it would take essentially a 6 out of 7. With a regular council, I don't know the math with there's only 6 participating, but I wanted to add that to note that there is a majority of the property owners that have petitioned.
So, Mr. Mayor, to answer that question about the numbers, it would require a simple majority, which in this instance, since there are 6 in attendance, it would still require 4.
4 is the number. All right. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make any comments on this petition for the alley vacation? Not seeing anyone, we will close the public hearing for the petition for the alley vacation at 7:10 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. The last public hearing we have is an annexation petition from Gustavus, Wheelberg, Calvary Cemetery properties, and we will open that public hearing at 7:10 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. And Mr. Willie again.
Mayor, members of the council, we took a swing and miss at this one originally. We attempted to annex the Wheelberg property, essentially the tower site of the old KRBI radio station, and then a small sliver of land owned by Gustavus, which abutted that property. We determined that neither one of those properties were within the city limits, even though all of our diagrams, maps, county records indicated, or not, excuse me, not county records, the city maps and diagrams indicated that they were actually within the city limits. So when we determined that, we took a opportunity to attempt to annex them by ordinance. Very same method that you used on the Pale and Ends property. Given that we thought they were completely surrounded by the existing city limits, the city council passed an ordinance. We set the matter up to the state of Minnesota for approval, and we were dismayed to find out that they had denied that annexation. They indicated that there was a third property owned by a third party that would also need to be assembled with the Gustavus and Wilberg property to essentially close that loop or constitute all of the property currently surrounded by the city limits. The problem was the county or the city had no record that those properties existed as individual parcels, if you will. Tonight we're trying to correct the matter. The petition's been initiated by the Planning Commission, so none of the three property owners had to incur any expenses for us to correct our error. Again, in the previous attempt, Gustavus and Mr. Wilberg representing the estate were very satisfied. I have talked to the chairman of the cemetery board. They also have no reservation. They also assumed that they were within the city limits as well. You would be asked later on tonight to consider an ordinance that would provide for the annexation of those three properties. In this instance, I can say that we have had the matter pre-mapped, and they have indicated that this is what is necessary to close that loop. Upon annexation, as the last instance, it's proposed that the Wilberg be zoned as C3, which is general retail and service commercial, which would match his financial services office. The Gustavus property then would be zoned educational institutional district to match the balance of their campus. And then the Calvary Cemetery property would be zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residential, again, to match the balance of the zoning of the rest of the Calvary Cemetery property. That's the best explanation I can make, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Russ. Mr. Warren Michaels, did you want to make comments or anything on this since you are here? I'm assuming representing the Calvary Cemetery?
I'm just representing, and I go along with everything that Russ said. We discussed this, and yeah, I have no problem. I just wanted to sit in and listen.
Okay. If you could, Warren, if you could give me your name, which is Warren Michaels, in case anybody didn't
Warren
figure that out,
Michaels.
and your home address, please, Warren, for the record. Your home address, please, Warren.
418 West 7th Street, Mankato.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment on this public hearing? If not, we will close the public hearing for the annexation petition for Gustavus, Wilberg, and the Calvary Cemetery properties at 7:13 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. Next, we will address visitors. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the council on any agenda item? Seeing no one, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the council on any matter whatsoever? Seeing no one, we will move to the consent agenda. The consent agenda begins in detail on page 10 and concludes with the resolution on pages 30 and 31 and includes the following budgeted purchases in excess of $10,000 to Rainelt Excavating for a water sewer line replacement for $12,423.50. The following licenses: a temporary on-sale liquor, a temporary soft drink, and a temporary show license to the St. Peter Ambassadors for June 12, 2021. A temporary on-sale liquor and a temporary dance license to the Redmond Club for July 3rd, 2021. We have 7 on-sale liquor licenses. I'm not going to name them all. We have 9 Sunday liquor licenses. We have 3 off-sale, Embassy Bar, MGM Liquor, and the Market Wine and Spirits. We have 2 off-sale beer licenses to Quick Trip, Family Fresh, and iMart stores. And we have 2 on-sale beer license to Extra Innings Paninos and Pizza and Jake's Pizza. And we have wine licenses to Extra Innings Paninos and Pizza and to Jake's Pizza. The following wage adjustments for seasonal employees: Peyton Portigue to $11.75. That's a corrected wage. To Martha Stelter, and this one is a correction with another correction. Should be $12.50 instead of $12.25 as it says. We have the following temporary employee appointment to Frederick Powers for a temporary mechanic assistance for $13 an hour. This runs through December 31st, 2021, plus the regular schedule of disbursements for May 6th, 2021 through May 19th, 2021. Are there any questions, comments on the consent agenda? All right, with the one change, is there a motion to approve?
Carrie Johnson will make a motion to approve with that one change.
Okay.
Emily will second.
Okay, Carrie 1, Emily 2. Any questions or comments now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Next, we have unfinished business, and the first thing up is the one of them that we just had the public hearing on for the annexation of property with the Gustavus, Wheelberg, and Calvary cemeteries. Russ?
Yeah, Mayor Zeman, I really don't have much to add to my report. I'd certainly answer any questions of me that you or members of the council would have.
Okay, appreciate that. Anybody have any questions for Russ and Mr. Michaels, if he is so willing? If we do not have any, the resolution, excuse me, that's an error. The ordinance for the annexing land located within the town of Oshawa Township, Nicollet County, permitting annexation by ordinance to the three holders that we have here now, appears on pages 38 through 40. Is there a motion for approval?
Ed'll make a motion.
Noel
to
will make a
approve.
motion to
Ed'll
approve.
second.
Shannon 1, Ed 2. Any questions or comments now?
Mr. Mayor, let me make
Yes.
one comment. Just to be clear, this ordinance is actually rescinding the previous ordinance that had the two properties
Okay.
and then annexing all three together.
Right, okay. All right, any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye. Ordinance is approved. Thank you, Warren, if you're still there. Next we have unfinished business on stormwater rates. Sally?
Mayor Zeman, City Council, we are here tonight asking you for approval on a stormwater rate increase effective July 1st, 2021, and another increase effective July 1st, 2022. The memo begins on page 41 of the packet, and the resolution is on page 51. Just as some background, stormwater rates are supported by the utility charge, and it started in 2007. And currently, the rate is $22.50 per acre, and is based on residential
Sally.
equivalency factors.
Sorry, Sally, we can't hear you very well.
Sorry, I'll move the microphone closer. Sorry about that. Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay, sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Do you want me to start over?
Yes, why don't you?
Okay. Mayor Zeman, City Council members, we're here tonight for the approval of the stormwater rate increase. We're proposing one on July 1st of 2021 and another on July 1st, 2022. The memo begins on page 41 of your packet, and there's a resolution on page 51. Stormwater rates are here to support by a utility charge that was established in 2007. The current rate right now is $22.50 per acre based on residential equivalency factor. When this was instituted, this rate has not changed since 2007. When you approved the budgets for 21 and 22, we were asked to come back and discuss rates. So we've done a couple workshops on rates. The first time I came in, there was an error in my spreadsheet which caused some issues, and I have corrected that. I'm sorry for that. And then The next couple, we discussed on how to phase it in over the next few years. So that's what we're coming back to ask per your request for phasing in this rate increase. So we are asking you to approve rates for 22 and 23. On page 44, the budget that was approved for 2021 without a rate change in this fund shows an operational deficit of a negative 17,911 and negative 28,612 for 2022. While we can have deficits, there's no statute or anything saying you can't have a deficit. Ours thought is that we would like to at least be at break even, if not some operational income. So that's over the long period of time. If you keep operating at a loss or a deficit, your reserves go down, and that is not sustainable over the long term. So we are coming back, and also the second reason why the increase is we're looking at our unrestricted cash balances. As you can see for 2021, without a rate increase, we would be at 816,000, 655,000, and 528,844. As we were looking through the budget, and our rationale for that is we would like to have in our reserves or unrestricted cash about a 4-year average. And that 4-year average for 2019 through 2022 would be 510,709, and that's on page 44 of the packet. While this is still above the goal of 500,000, it is continuing to decline each year. So the increases are needed now to help increase the fund balance in 2023 and beyond. And there is a graph on page 47 which shows that, because without an increase, if you look at your page, you'd be down at 278,957 would be the projected increase, or the projected fund balance at the end of 2023 without an increase. So this fund is supported mainly, the largest portion of this is residential users. So it takes a while to increase that balance. Right now, at a residential equivalency factor of 2250, the residence is paying $750 a month for this. So even though we have 2,500 residents that pay this, it takes a while. The actual revenue per year is only $500,000 or a little bit above that. So that's why we're asking for an increase. So, Todd, you want to take over?
Mayor, members, some of what we talked about previously is listed out on the bottom of page 41 onto the top of page 42 with our priorities and really the why of rate increase. So first of all is to try and minimize or eliminate any operational deficit. Second is really trying to come to a conclusion on a common understanding of the reserve target for this one. As Sally indicated, we believe that right around that $500,000 mark is the appropriate number in this fund. We will continue to talk about how capital purchases are made. Some capital purchases are made through cash. Some are made through debt service. We'll see that debt service principally when we have very large infrastructure projects. The fund itself will not have enough money to cover all of that and have cash flow enough to operate. So debt may be needed. You'll note that, as Sally indicated, as a part of the budget process, that you have a number of larger projects that are likely to come up, really driven not exactly by a timeline, but when development occurs, and us trying to be in tune with that and making the improvement just as that is going on. And then again, thinking about what your operational philosophy is relative to whether this is a progressive or a regressive fee. And we could talk for hours and hours about what that really means or how you feel about that, but typically your enterprise funds are driven by use. And so the more you use, or the more that you could potentially use or have access to, the more you pay for services. So this follows those 4 priorities in trying to solve our problem, which I think the council agreed to. The problem was too big an increase too fast. Let's figure out a way to spread that out. And so if we're in agreement that that's the problem, there are certainly 1,000+ ways to solve that, but this is one that meets all of those goals, and we think does it in a way that is rational and reasonable for your ratepayers.
Okay.
So on page 45 of the packet, that is showing, the top part of the chart is showing where we're at today at the $22.50 per acre. It breaks out the 5 classifications that we have for our customers and where we're at today. The middle portion is showing the July 1st, 2021 increase. And we are asking to go from $22.50 per acre up to $24.75 per acre as of July 1st. And what that will do is drive, because it's only a half year for 2021, it would drive an additional $26,146 of revenue. And it would change, and we would go to an operational profit for that year. And unrestricted cash would be $847,771. Then a year from now, or July 1st of 2022, we're asking for another increase, which would take our rate up to $27.23 per acre. And this then would drive an additional $26,000 from the first increase and $57,561 for 2022, for a total of $83,622. And our unrestricted cash would be at $642,414. The proposed increase per classification for each residential customer, it equates to $75 a month or 75 cents a month or $4.50 for 2021, and then an additional 83 cents per month for 2022. As I said, this will erase the operational deficit for 2021 and 2022 budget cycle and keep unrestricted cash above the goal of $500,000 and help with future years in our cash, unrestricted cash. So what we are asking you tonight is to approve the resolution on page 51 to increase stormwater rates to $24.75 per acre for July 1st, 2021. $27.23 per acre for July 1st, 2022. And then when we come back and do this again at the end, mid-2022, the staff will provide use of wastewater funds in the 2023-2024 stormwater budget cycle, per your request too. So we will bring that to you at that point.
Okay.
Questions?
Questions for Sally or Todd?
This is Emily. I would like to make a comment if I
Yes.
can.
Yes, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Sally. And I just wanted to say a thank you to the staff for putting this together because I think it really represents a good compromise. And I personally like to see that gradual increase in rates. And I like the idea of doing it, on the year, each July, like we talked about at our workshop last week. So I just wanted to thank you for doing all that work and putting that together.
You're welcome.
Okay, Brad.
So I do want to thank staff as well for basically starting over and looking at other ways we can tackle this. The one thing I would like to talk about, Sally did point out coming back to this in the fall of 2022. I really want to see this budget, yes, in the fall of 2022, as opposed to right now we're almost halfway through 2021 and we're approving the budget now. I don't want to be halfway through 2023 and trying to approve the budget halfway through the year again. So please make it a priority to get the budgets going before the year that they're supposed to be there. So
Point taken. Anyone else? Questions or comments? If not, the resolution adopting the 2021 and 2022 stormwater rate schedule appears on page 51. Is there a motion for approval?
Emily
Noel
will
will make a
so-
motion to approve.
Okay, I got Shannon 1, Emily 2. Any other questions or comments now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. That concludes our unfinished business. Next, we have new business, and the
Thank
first
you.
thing up is the petition for the alley vacation that we had a public hearing on. Russ, anything else to add?
Nope, just be very brief, Mayor. You received a petition from the majority of property owners abutting an alley subject to vacation. No drivable surface has been established. There's no inlet or outlet upon a public street. Upon the maintenance of the appropriate easements, the Planning Commission's recommended approval.
Okay, any questions for Russ or for Mr. Ron Johnson, who's here with us? Todd, did you have something?
No, sir, just a reminder on the vote that's necessary.
Right, okay. Ron, what are you planning on doing with this?
Right now, I'm just gonna put the lots up for sale, and my plan was, looking at single family, but duplex could be put in there,
Okay.
so basically for residential, single family homing.
Okay, all right, appreciate that, the information.
You bet.
All right, any other questions? If not, the resolution approving the vacation of all or part of the north-south alley between blocks 37 and 38, Town of Traverse de Sioux, now the City of St. Peter, appears on page 56. Is there a motion for approval?
Ed'll make a motion to approve.
Carrie Johnson will second.
Ed 1, Carrie 2. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, we have the RCJ subdivision preliminary and final plats. Russ.
Yeah, Mayor Zeman, members of the council, the Planning Commission held a public hearing regarding the plating. So tonight you're asked to consider their recommendation. But the petition for replatting then has been jointly submitted by Ron Johnson and Susan Mira. On page 55, it really shows the current Mira property best. That's the 1414 Old Minnesota Avenue property. And then if you compare that to the diagram on page 60, you can show that the Mira property then would be supposed to acquire a portion of the property owned by Ron Johnson. Namely, there's a long storage building there. And so subsequent to your vacation of the alley, they'd like to move forward with the replatting of property. Right now, the Johnson and Mira interests own 4 individual lots. And then, given the North 3rd Street improvements, they would seek to replat the 4 lots to create 6 new lots. They would anticipate the residential development of the lots abutting 3rd Street, as Mr. Johnson had indicated. All of the lots then would meet the minimum requirements of an R3 multifamily zoning district, which is a minimum lot area of 6,000 square feet and a minimum lot width of 55 square feet. So within the R3 district, as Mr. Johnson indicated, that would accommodate the construction of a single-family home or a duplex, but other multifamily, more intense developments would not be able to fit on those lots, given that the size that they would be platted at. As you can see, then again, Susan Mira and Mr. Johnson have negotiated a land swap or sale, where then Susan would acquire property that would be west of what's now the alley. Well, I guess it's not now; it's been vacated. Mr. Johnson then would maintain ownership of the other 5 lots abutting 3rd Street. Again, the Planning Commission considered the matter at a May 6th public hearing. Both Ron Johnson and Nate Mira, representing his mother Susan, addressed the commission in support of the petition. The Planning Commission has recommended then, Mayor, that you and the council accept the preliminary and final plats of RCJ subdivision as petitioned by Ron Johnson and Susan Mira. There is a resolution on page 62 accepting the preliminary plat, and a resolution on page 63 accepting the final plat. And Mayor, as always, I'd answer any questions you or members of the council may have.
All right, questions for Russ? If not, the resolution accepting the preliminary plat of RCJ subdivision appears on page 62. Is there a motion for approval?
Carrie Johnson
Noel will make a motion to approve.
Carrie Johnson will second.
Shannon 1, Carrie 2. Any questions now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, we have a resolution accepting the final plat of the RCJ subdivision. That appears on page 63. Is there a motion for approval?
Ed will make a motion to approve.
Emily will second.
Ed 1, Emily 2. Any questions on this one? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, we have a petition for the rezoning of 1445, 1473 North 3rd Street. This one we also had a public hearing on earlier. Anything else to add at this point, Russ?
No, again, the diagram on page 66 shows the parcels subject to the rezoning. It would match the other properties owned by Mr. Johnson on 3rd Street with the R3 multifamily residential zoning.
Okay. Any questions for Russ or for Mr. Johnson? Seeing none, the ordinance amending the St. Peter City Code, Chapter 24, the Land Use Regulations and Zoning, and the section to the official map to rezone from General Industrial I-2 to R3 Multifamily Residential, and adopting by reference St. Peter Code, Chapter 1, Section 1 through 6, appears on page 67 and 68. Is there a motion for approval?
Ed will make a motion
Emily
to
will
approve.
so move.
Emily 1, Ed 2. Any questions or comments now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Mayor Zeman,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson.
Aye.
Ordinance is approved. Mr. Johnson, I want to thank you for your proactive approach on these properties. You know, I know you've been here longer than I have, or we've been here about the same amount of time, and I'm glad to see that we're finally moving forward with something out there, and hopefully you'll have all the success, because we appreciate everything you do.
Okay, thank you very much for helping me out.
All right, thanks, Ron.
Yep, bye-bye.
Next up, we have a request for city assistance for Blues Fest. Todd?
Mayor, members, the request you see within your packet starts on page 69 and goes on to page 70. You'll see some information provided by the ambassadors themselves with the resolution on page 73 and 74. I think the principal issues that you should be aware of is that they're looking to reserve the park from June 10th to June 13th. That gives them enough time to set up and take down with the event on June 12th. This is very, very similar to what we've seen over the past 11 years, 10 years. And so we're recommending approval. I think the biggest issues that you'll see are the dates, certainly the level of insurance that is required, the responsibilities that they have for placement of their materials, screenage, tents, etc., and the use of police reserves, which they pay for. Mr. Mayor and members, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have for Blues Fest hosted by the ambassadors to take place on June 12th.
Okay. Questions? Glad to see that this is back, along with a lot of other things that we've been missing out on, not just us, but everywhere. Any questions or comments? The resolution approving the request for city assistance for Ambassadors Blues Fest appears on page 73 and 74. Is there a motion for approval?
Carrie Johnson will make a motion to approve.
Ed will second.
Noel will second.
We got Carrie 1, Shannon 2. Any questions now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye. Resolution is approved. That concludes this portion of our new business. We will be coming back to that. Before we do that, before we have any of our closing reports, we have a resolution on page 75 asking for a closed session for the purchase or sale of real or personal property. This is pertaining to the former wastewater treatment ponds and also to Block 5, which is in the downtown area. That's what we're talking about on this one,
Yep,
right?
commonly referred to as municipal parking lot number 5, Mr.
Municipal
Mayor.
parking lot number 5. Sorry, I said Block 5. Municipal parking lot number 5. We will, as I said, we will be returning to open session after this, and for the purpose of, well, it's on our new business schedule. So with that, is there a motion to approve the resolution for a closed session?
Ed'll make a motion.
Emily Wilson moved.
Okay, we got Ed 1, Emily 2. Is that who that was? Okay. Any questions? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Bruflat,
Aye.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. We will now recess into that closed session for those not involved and need to come back. 15 minutes, Todd?
I would hope so, Mr. Mayor.
15 minutes, which brings us to 7:56. So at 7:56, please check back, and then we will continue on from there. Return from the closed session. We will return to open session. It is 8:04 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, 2021. And the next thing up is under new business is the purchase of city-owned property, municipal lot number 5. Todd.
Mr. Mayor, members, I'll let Russ talk about this one just a little bit, and I have a graphic that I can show for those folks that might not know where parking lot number 5 is. So Russ, if you wouldn't mind.
I guess parking lot 5 is best known as the home of the Oktoberfest celebration, but it is the municipal parking lot at the intersection of Gray Street and Highway 169 or Minnesota Avenue. For the 20 years that I've been employed, it has been offered for sale from time to time via request for proposals. As Mr. Prafke had said previously, we've entertained perhaps maybe 4 proposals that have gone to any stage in the process before just ultimately not working out. But Old Town Development LLC, whose chief manager is David Schoof of Mankato, has expressed interest in the potential development and purchase of that property. As they would undertake the engineering, design, and architectural work necessary for that development, they would like some site control so that another buyer doesn't come in and take that from underneath them. So a exclusive negotiating rights agreement has been drafted by and between the city and Old Town Development, which would provide Old Town Development with a 6-month option at a price of $500. The agreement does provide that the City Council would have the final authority to determine the design, the site plan, the building materials, and general layout of the development. And it would contemplate that the project would be undertaken in perhaps 2 stages. And so it does mention that we'd have to come to a mutually negotiated agreement on to which particular property would be sold, but the intent would be on phase 1 to sell them the footprint and then any necessary area for parking while reserving then future frontage on Highway 169 for a second phase. To give them an opportunity to prove that the matter works, we'll make sure that the first phase is designed so it can be a standalone development. I'd answer any questions that you or members might have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, questions? Todd, I know that we're not, and Russ, either one of you, I know we're not to that point yet of a purchase agreement. but I am assuming by conversations and what I've heard, that they would be asking for TIF.
If there's a housing development, we have had that discussion, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
And so their initial intent has been to have commercial on the first floor, on the ground floor, and then housing above that.
When we issue TIF, when that's taken or given, does that not give the city few more controls?
It definitely does, and that's one of the things that we look for. Some of the primary control in this instance has to do with housing.
Right.
The addition or the use of TIF in this instance probably doesn't have a lot or give you a lot of additional site control because the city already owns the site. If it was a site that we didn't own, it might give you a number of areas of control on a site that we don't own. But since you own it, you have a lot of that already in place, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So for those watching, if anybody cares, TIF, I know we do this a lot, tax increment financing for those that care about the acronyms. Any other questions or comments? If not, the resolution authorizing execution of an exclusive negotiating rights agreement for potential purchase and development of municipal parking lot number 5 by Old Town Development, LLC, appears in the email that we received this afternoon sometime, for those that checked it. Is there a motion for approval?
Noel will make a motion to approve.
Carrie Johnson will second.
Shannon 1, Carrie 2. Any questions now? Call the roll, please, Barb.
Councilmember Carrie Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Ed Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Zeman.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Councilmember Bruflat.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. That concludes our new business. Next up, we have reports. The only thing that I am declaring next Tuesday is June 1st, and we had kind of adjusted our schedule because of Memorial Day to have a meeting on that night. I am declaring no meeting for Tuesday, June 1st. Have a longer Memorial Day weekend. So
The mayor's accommodating the city administrator a little bit. You guys are going to be together a lot on Thursday. And so just to make sure that I can have some things done for you, you have another workshop scheduled the week following, since that's the first of the month and a Tuesday, so thank you.
but I don't get much power to do stuff, but that's one that I really enjoy. So no meeting on Tuesday, June 1st. We will have our first meeting will be the 7th, I believe. Then,
And that will
right?
be a workshop, Mr. Mayor.
Workshop on the first,
Yeah.
the actual first Monday of the June. That's all I have, Todd.
Mr. Mayor, members, I do want to mention Police Chief recruitment update. That work continues to go on, and you will be participating in a number of different efforts, certainly on Wednesday and Thursday. If you have questions about that or are looking for some additional information from a council member's perspective as to when to attend, how to attend, where to be, all those kind of things, we're more than happy. Please give Barbara or I a call, and we'll be happy to help you. As you know, in the last hot sheet and on Facebook and on our website, we provided some additional information, and I think it was picked up on the front page of the Herald as well, about public input on Wednesday morning and how that could occur. We offered opportunity for folks to submit questions as well, and so that process, I think, will work as smoothly as it can in kind of a hybrid format, so we're excited for that. And we look forward to seeing the 5 candidates go through the entire process. It's important to note that there's that public process on Wednesday right away in the morning, and then certainly the council Civil Service Commission meeting of the whole will be on GoToMeeting and will be sent out virtually as a part of that, so that will be able to be seen by anyone, or folks can come to the meeting on Thursday, well, starting late afternoon at about 3:30-ish. And so again, if folks have any questions, please let me know. We'll be happy to answer as best as we can. The next one that I have, Mr. Mayor, relates to COVID-19, just to provide an update related to mask rules. So we continue to follow the CDC and Minnesota Department of Health rules, as well as the governor's declaration related to mask rules within public buildings. So that means that if you are vaccinated, you are not required to wear a mask within the public buildings. And we're in the community center today, so that includes the community center. But you certainly can wear a mask if you choose to. Those, again, who are not vaccinated are asked and required to wear masks. Those who are vaccinated are not required to wear a mask indoors within the public building. So wanted to provide clarification for that as well. Mr. Mayor, that's all that I really have for you for tonight.
All right. Anyone else have anything they would like to share? Ed?
Up on Fifth Street by the tennis courts and so forth and Veterans Fields, there is garbage cans all over that park, and there's a lot of people that do not pick stuff up.
Oh.
There is pop cans, pop bottles, water bottles, and dog waste. Just, there's a lot of garbage cans. I just like to have people pick it up, because if there's pop bottles there, the lawnmower guys, they have to stop and pick that stuff up. So I'd appreciate it if we clean it up a little bit.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything to share? Monday, I mentioned Memorial Day. I'm going to need some help. 10:30, the ceremony down at the park?
It's 10:30 the ceremony.
10:30 is the ceremony down at the park. So, other than that, anyone else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Ed'll make a motion to adjourn.
Carrie Johnson will second.
All in favor, it was Ed 1, Carrie 2, all in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.